So, welcome to yet another episode of LeadHership. Today we have a very special guest on the show, and I know I keep saying this for almost every guest on the show, but you know what? Every guest is special, and that's why probably I say it. And we have Sareeta Bhatikar. So, Sarita and I have a very long-standing relationship, and we go back to around say 10 years of knowing each other. It's been wonderful knowing each other for so many years, standing by each other and rooting for one another. So I'm going to read a very small introduction which Sarita herself has given me. But even as I'm reading the introduction, I know that this doesn't cover even 10% of who she is. So probably you will have to unravel the 90% in the next 55 minutes of the conversation. So here it goes. Sarita is an HR leader with 22 years of diverse global experience in matrix and multicultural environments. As a business centric HR expert, and I can vouch for that, she has worked in multiple industries, being insurance, pharma, telecom, shipping, FMCG, IT. I don't know which industry is left. She is currently working with HDFC Life as head of HR and is proficient in redefining employee experience and culture. And prior to that, she has been associated with various organizations like Cipla, Vodafone, Maersk Line, Unilever, L&T Infotech. I'm glad the list ended there. She's not only an avid reader, but Sarita also has her own blog where she pens down her thoughts on various HR topics. And if you have not yet visited her blog on mindfulness, which was published like a year ago, but it still keeps coming up because people still keep commenting on it, you should really visit that blog. She loves traveling and is also a foodie who does not miss on trying out of the special cuisines at every place she travels. A proud wife, a mother of two teenage twins, Sarita loves collaborating and networking with people from all walks of life, professionally and personally, and learn from their experiences. And this is one beautiful aspect about Sarita that I just love, that her open-mindedness to just learn from anybody and everybody who comes her way. So welcome Sarita to the show. It's an honor to have you here.
Oh, thank you, Suhasini, and special thanks for the lovely introduction. Thanks for inviting me to be a part of the entire LeadHership series. I am excited, and I'm really looking forward for the next 55 minutes. Hope I'm able to do justice, but I can assure you, and I can assure all the folks out there who are listening, you will get stuff straight from my heart.
Absolutely. I think, Sarita, even if you talk in your dream, I think pearls of wisdom will flow out. So I really don't think that, right now, getting value of the conversation is something that we should be thinking about. But what I'm thinking is we're just going to have a free flowing conversation, just like how we keep talking over the phone. And the only difference is this is being telecasted live all over the whole world. That's the only difference. But apart from that, let's see where it goes. So the
Sure.
first question, if you have to just let the world know about who Sarita actually is, what would Sarita say?
Um, so, would you want me to say it in three, four adjective sentence, or should I kind of
Yes,
narrate
no,
it into
whatever
my
you want.
journey?
Your journey as to how it's been over till now, what have been the challenges so far, your journey.
Okay, okay. So, let me go back many years ago, and let me start maybe by telling the audience out here that I kind of earned my first penny when I was in standard eighth, and that's when I started delivering tuition classes. And given that, I've always heard my father on how he used to fund his own education and had started working very early on. For me, the tuition route was to do something similar to what my Baba did. And though it may sound very conventional, I think the taking the tuitions kind of has helped me shape where I am. The journey has been very fulfilling, but uh, this piece that I started in 8th standard actually has laid the foundation for my personality and the journey ahead. So, Asni, maybe before I move to my professional journey, let me share with the audience, and you rightly put it in the introduction also. what am I as a person. Yeah. A very very optimistic individual, and everyone in my family as well as my friend circle, even at work, people say I, even in a desert, I will always look out
Hmm.
for an oasis. And and that is something that defines me as an individual. Now, on my hobbies side, I love traveling. I love exploring places because and I'm comfortable even with a backpack travel. It's not necessary that it has to be a luxury travel or a set travel. You can put me at XYZ place, and I'll find opportunities to visit even the unknown touristy spots
Yeah.
at that place. And the reason again is because travel for me opens up a very very different dimension.
Hmm.
It tells me, and it always constantly reminds me that I'm just a speck in this entire universe, and there is infinite stuff to explore. So this also has in a way shaped my thinking to continuously remain grounded.
Hmm.
As you know, there are times when we may think we've arrived in life,
Yeah.
but there is still an infinite amount of knowledge to explore. You did talk about me being a foodie. I'll add on to that, a foodie plus someone who loves binge watching movies and the series on OTT platform. And nowadays, I think post COVID, series binging has
Yeah.
become the new normal for most of us.
Yeah.
So then moving on to my professional journey piece, you see, like most of us, I had a very pretty normal trajectory on my school, on my college education. Post MBA, I was placed in L&T Infotech straight out of campus, and my journey started on a very interesting note. It was the year 2002, and many IT companies had ceased hiring. And because I was selected on day zero, and L&T Group being L&T Group, they honored the hiring commitment, and I was the only management trainee across all functions that year to be
Oh.
placed. So I was, I did not go through a conventional MT program with
Yeah.
assignments, etc. But I was put in a real time job in the overseas compensation and benefits team. I've been fortunate, touchwood, to get good assignments throughout my career. But the one that I could probably share with you, Suhasini, where I had my maximum learning was the Chevron assignment in California, in USA. We had a cross culture team. My boss was an American. I had two colleagues. One was a Japanese, the other was a South African. And in that assignment, while there was a lot of learning on change management, which was a very niche domain, I think the nuances of understanding culture, uh,
Hmm.
and the nuances that what is your truth may not necessarily be my truth. I think
Yeah.
that aspect of leadership was hands on through the Chevron assignment. And let me give you an example. So, when my change head, she would walk into my workstation, and I would immediately stand up, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
I would be working on my laptop, I would stand up. Now, I would stand up out of respect. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's our culture. There's a senior who's come, and she would then hesitate to take the next step forward because she would think she is making it awkward for me or intruding
Yeah.
my private space.
Yeah.
Because that's the perception and culture she comes from. And it was only after a couple of such funny moments did both of us realize that my standing up was to greet her out of respect,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
her coming and having a casual conversation was to make me feel comfortable and give me
Yeah.
real time inputs. I also learned the value of time and commitment. Meetings would start on time, they would end on time. People respected each other's calendars. We do that in professional contexts out here also, but it at times follows its own bell curve.
Hmm. Hmm.
If a date is given, work is delivered on that date. If there's an
Hmm.
extension, there's advance intimation that is given. Small things which we tend to forget or take granted at times in our regular work context. But these were some of the things that I carried forward, and I ensured that I'm able to abide by that discipline.
Yeah.
And then it was a 3-month assignment. It was a super success. But for me, I was at the crossroad of wanting to excel in my career and start a family. This assignment even went on to be a long term assignment, but I chose not to take it because I had to take a pragmatic call of, wanting to start a family, being a mom. And that's where I came to India. While I chose my personal priorities over my international career, I think when I look back, Suhasini, I feel the last 22 years have been very fulfilling. And that's where I grew from a management trainee to the HR head at HDFC Life. Um, on the professional front, and I love the way you said, which industry have you left? There are many industries to explore, but I love it out here. So I've been also fortunate never to repeat my industry. Uh,
Yeah.
and I think that has also built in a lot of diversity in perspectives. See, for
Hmm.
us human resources, people principles mota don't change.
Yeah, that's
um,
right.
what needs to happen is they need to be contextualized to the business realities.
Yeah.
And then, what's helped me is working in multiple industries. I've been able to pick best practices and
Hmm.
contextualize it to the business reality and roll it out.
Hmm.
um, you know but this journey has not been easy. The last 22 years, they haven't been very easy. It has all had its own roller coaster. There have been fun moments, there have been moments of introspection, there have been moments where, I have thought of probably taking it a little easy. uh, but one thing that I would like to share with you and the audience out here is, I fundamentally believe that success is not a measure of validation of roles or titles and salary. But success also has to be, in line with the personal benchmark and the
Hmm.
evidence of adding real value to the organization you're working with. So today, while being an HR leader is satisfying, for me, what is truly satisfying is to see that my team trusts me, my business stakeholders trust me. I'm able to add a little bit of value in my own way to the organizational people agenda. And on the home front, it's satisfying to see a supportive partner. My husband's an accomplished lawyer, and to see my teens who
Hmm.
are excelling in academics. They've turned out to have the value system me and my husband have always wanted them to, kind of have. So I think that's where the satisfaction comes from.
Excellent. So I think I'm going to, the logical next question is, what is the personal definition of success mean to you? Because I really believe that success is very personal to everybody. And when you say
Absolutely.
satisfaction comes from a few things, what is your personal definition of success?
So let me again give an analogy and then tell you what my definition of success is. As HR professionals with every employee, there's an attempt to always make them understand that there's something called the total
Yeah.
rewards philosophy.
Yeah.
And your compensation is not just your fixed and your variable, which most of the times they myopically look at.
Yeah.
But what does the total rewards philosophy say? Of course, there's a fixed and a variable, but there's a learning environment, there's a brand of the organization, there's a working environment, there's a culture, there's how your development and career growth is going to go.
Hmm.
There are a lot of components around that. And when one looks at the total rewards proposition, is when you're truly looking at what is it that you are earning from a wealth or an organization career point of view. The same way I'll define success for each one of us. And you rightly said, what success for you is different, what success for me is different, what success for the audience is different. The way I define success is how it fits into my total life proposition. And I've
Excellent.
borrowed this philosophy from the total rewards proposition. So the way I'm able to perform in my job and of course build my professional journey and success metrics, at the same time, my family, my social connect, my extended family and friends, the time that I get to upskill myself beyond just work related or professional upskilling, um, the time to pursue my hobbies, the me time that I get, and all of this, if I'm in the green zone, for me, that's success. Success also is, while you may say this comes from a very purist mindset, but no, I have been very consciously practicing this. For me, success is if I'm able to exceed my personal benchmarks that I put about myself as a professional, as a family member, and as a human being. So that's my broad based definition of success.
You just actually ratified a study which was, I think, made by Marshall Goldsmith, and he has also written this about in his book, How Women Rise. It says that whenever you are asked women about personal success, they count the whole stuff as to the whole quality of life that they are living. And whenever you ask a man about his personal success story, generally the benchmarks will be more towards money, the more towards career, what he is able to provide to his family. And when I was hearing your answer, I was just, bulbs were just blinking like this, saying that, oh, she just ratified the study which was done by Marshall Goldsmith.
No
So,
wonder
yeah.
men are from Mars and women are from Venus, right?
Yeah, maybe, what, neurologically maybe we are meant that way. I mean, I'm yet to meet a woman. Probably there, I'm not denying their existence, but
Hmm.
probably very few in number who will say that success means I will be on the top of my career, and I will
Hmm.
do the very best in terms of money. And I'm yet to actually come across definitions like that being said by a woman. Maybe I'm just yet to meet them. That's also, I'm just keeping open minded for all sorts of stories that I'm yet to unravel in my conversations. It's heavily possible. But yeah. Okay, so tell me something. One question which I was having in my mind, and I was just stopping myself to ask that right at the start, because I didn't want to make the conversation like very serious right at the start. When you had to make a personal choice between starting a family and then choosing to be in an international assignment, was it a cause of regret then, or was it in terms of, did it ever occur to your mind saying that, oh, I have to now choose between this and that, and can I be happy with that choice?
So, honestly, I can't say regret. There was some confusion, and it's human to have the confusion. But then I think when both me and Gautam, my husband, laid things out on the table, uh, clearly the priority of starting a family came across. Um, there have been times when on a nice breezy evening when both of us are taking a stroll and we are revisiting our life,
Yeah.
the question does pop in, barabar kiya, barabar nahi kiya. But as a person, I don't brood over the past,
Yeah.
and I fundamentally believe in the karmic cycle as well as destiny.
Hmm.
And I know that there was something in the
Yeah.
cosmic universe also that enabled the decision to be taken, and I respect that. But yeah,
Hmm.
honestly, there was confusion sometimes. In whatever we do visit conversations in that space, but there's no ounce of regret.
Okay, wow. Okay, so now time for a light question. अभी heavy dose conversation हो गया, so now time for a light question. So I know that you are this person of do good, be good, God rules everything. I know that kind of Sarita, but I still have one naughty question. And the naughty question is, if Sarita had to commit a crime and run away, what would that crime be?
I would rob a restaurant, maybe a Michelin star restaurant. Yeah, the foodie in me, I would rob a Michelin star restaurant, maybe.
Wow, such high benchmarks even in that. Ki nahi, I will not rob Era restaurant. I will
देखो,
rob.
एरा सारा खाना अच्छा होता है, but if I have to rob only, then I rather rob something that is worth being called a robber for.
That is nice. That is nice. Okay. Okay, so now let me come up with my next question. Uh, You had said that when you started your professional journey, uh, beneath that professional journey, I found a lot of self-made Sarita. While you just said it was a normal journey to start by and stuff, but there was a lot of self-made aspect into that because you had started earning right since class 8, taking tuitions, funding for your own self, and that upbringing is very strong. And I want to know that when you see other women right now in front of you who are working with you, or who have worked with you in the past, if there have been some limiting beliefs that you have seen in them, and if probably you have to share a message with them now, maybe if they are hearing you, fine; not hearing you, that is also fine. What would
Hmm.
that message be to them?
Um, so there are many limiting beliefs that I've seen as I have worked with a couple of colleagues, especially women. Um, some from my team, some who are peers. But one common trend or a limiting belief that I see is that somewhere, the imposter syndrome is for real.
Hmm.
There are times when an accomplishment or an achievement needs to be taken with your collar held tight.
Hmm.
And there are times when you've got to, give yourself the credit for the accomplishment or the achievement. But somewhere, and maybe in the Indian context, it's more visible. We tend to, um, ourselves dampen the efforts taken for that victory. And I've seen this across. And it's something as simple as, oh, Suhasini, you're wearing such a lovely dress. Arey, I got it on sale, isliye maine uthaya, or someone gifted it. To, hey, you really deserved this fast track promotion, and the way you've, transformed the organization is unbelievable. The response, the first, the Freudian slipped response
Yeah,
is, oh, I have a great boss, I have a great set of
yeah,
business stakeholders,
yeah,
I
yeah.
have a great team. And it's so evident in women across all levels. Somewhere I think that maybe social conditioning, but it's time to probably call it out that no, I deserved it. And it is not arrogant, it is on in all humility, that
Hmm.
one has to accept that one deserves it.
Okay, so now related to this, I have two questions. One is, where do you think the source of all of this is coming from? And the second is, if this continues to keep going, I mean, if this continues to becoming a reality for more and more women out there, what do you see as implications of this?
So, I see this, like I said, across all levels. So it's not just at a middle level, junior level, or a senior level. But yeah, there are fairly large number of women now also who are pretty self-assertive, and
Hmm.
assertiveness is looked as a leadership skill. There are many that I look up to, and I have seen who call the shots.
Yeah,
My CEO and MD at HDFC Life is a woman, and she's extremely assertive, and someone whom I um, look up to, and try to pick a lot of leadership tips, and kind of imbibe them in my day-to-day interactions with people. But if you were to ask me, what does these imposter syndrome or self-limiting beliefs lead to? I think in the corporate space, it leads to women not raising their hands up, maybe for larger roles. They'll wait for the right, and there's so much of research which is backed with
yeah,
data and statistics, which says, you know feel shy to raise our hands up. We feel shy to negotiate on your
yeah.
compensation. uh, uh, a woman will tell her manager she's ready when she's 200% convinced. Whereas if a man is 70% convinced, he'll go and talk about it. So I think this is the manifestation of that social conditioning, of maybe am I really up there, or am I
Yeah.
doing the right thing, kind of a imposter syndrome.
And it reminds me of something which was said by one of our earlier speakers, that perfectionist syndrome is so much in all of us, saying that if you're not 100% sure that you are really, the JD may, till the time everything comes as a tick mark, you will really not raise up your hand. And on the other hand, if men find a JD which has got 30% tick marks, they'll still raise their hand for it, because for them it's just learning on the way. And that's something that I think we need
Absolutely.
to learn from men, saying that there's one more line from Sheryl Sandberg, I think: done is better than perfect. I mean,
Yes,
you need not be like the best in like everything that you do. I mean, the best mom, the best wife, or the best spouse, the best daughter-in-law, and the best employee, and the best human being, and everything. Keep going. I mean, keep going. That's what matters, right?
absolutely, absolutely. Also, risk is better than regret.
Yeah.
You don't take those calculated risks, and why not? In line with exactly what you said.
Yeah, that's right. So this is one reason by, of course, for a lot of time, this could be the progress stopping reason for women. What are some other reasons that you think that you have seen, not you think, like, because the very reason we are doing these leadership series is you can actually confront us with the reality at the ground level and not from a research point of view.
Hmm.
Some of the other reasons that contribute to the broken rung, and actually how, in your experience, what are some best solutions that you can do to actually repair the rung?
So, one which I said is
Yeah.
the imposter syndrome, and I've seen it in action. The second piece is, again, a lot of women, and especially in the insurance industry, we've got a lot of women colleagues who drop out once they reach mid management level, because that's where your roles and responsibilities increase, and your commitment of time
Yeah.
for organizational deliverables also gets complex. And then the responsibilities on the home front also increase. Surprisingly or coincidentally, if you look at uh, the journey of a woman, her biological clock as well as her professional clock, they kind of always coincide. And that's where I see a lot of women taking calls, consciously going slow on their careers, or dropping out to choose to become homemakers. And that's one problem I think we are plagued with, as an Indian corporate organization, because if your funnel starts becoming lower and lower at the top, and it's inverted that way, then your representation of women leaders, and the scope to really scout
Hmm.
also reduces. So the problem that I see is hanging your boots a little too early. Maybe the advice is, don't give in so fast. And what we've done in HDFC Life, if I may say, we kind of identified this problem. And we did that through a lot of exit interviews, a lot of conversations. And we realized that at the middle management level, and especially in the COVID times, Suhasini, a lot of them, because they had COVID disrupted
Yeah.
our lives. Yeah. And in the first wave, when everything was so scary, and you did not have an ecosystem to come and help you with household chores,
Yeah.
and work timings had also got extended because everyone was trying to figure everything out. We had a lot of women colleagues at the middle management level who kind of call the shots out for working in the office. And that's when we decided we will have extremely dedicated, sharp interventions built around skills of building resilience.
Very good.
And in the whole resilience workshops, real situations, discussing about problems. We
Yeah.
had senior women who also kind of heard and gave solutions. But the whole theme was to build resilience, and to let our women colleagues know that sometimes these obstacles are temporary.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's okay to kind of not have the superwoman syndrome,
Hmm.
and not want to do everything A star
Yeah.
at work, at office, at your social life. And there were multiple communication touch points around it's okay to not be a star in everything.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
think that helped us a lot, and it did prevent a lot of leakage. So that is one thing I can say. Be there, hang on, be resilient, be confident, have trust in yourself. There are tough times. There are times when, as women, you may feel, uh, I don't know where I have to go. There are multiple occasions where guilt will kill you
Yeah.
and come to bite you, but rationalize it in your head and be resilient. Um, that's something that I still go through at times. There have been times when I have not attended PTMs. I have not attended annual functions because I've been traveling. I've not been there for prelim exams, but I think it's fine at times. And your children and your family and your husband, everyone understands. You are like they say, you're responsible for your own learning in the corporate world. I think you're responsible for your own work-life balance. There are times you put your foot down. There are times you let go and don't be
Yeah.
tough on yourself.
Yeah. Everything is not a battle that needs to be fought, right?
And it's not a battle that needs to be fought and won.
What
You know,
exactly?
yeah.
Yeah, very true. So actually, this also brings me to why we actually started doing these lead-hership series. When we
Hmm.
were actually looking around, right, we saw three problem statements.
Hmm.
One was people said they don't have enough role models,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
whenever we asked about role models, they said that Indra Nui, Kiran Bedi, and all the people whom are very far away. They're like stars in the sky, wherein you are like you can't even reach them if you want to. Like you can't give a phone call to Indra Nui and say, "Hey Indra, I'm facing a problem right now. What do you think I should be doing?" And this this is also a side problem of how we women are conditioned, saying that we ourselves are hugely inspirational. Most of us have hugely inspirational stories, but then we never come to a platform and share our stories with others. Because
Hmm.
for us it is all about acha mera ghar hai, or I have my office, I've got too many things on my plate, where do I have the time to actually go and inspire other people also? So literally we have like too many things on the plate, and then we forget to just see how we can do serve a larger cause.
Hmm.
And that's problem statement number one. So with this actually we are bringing all the possible role models on the show, saying that you don't need to look at the star of the sky, you need to just probably into the other side of the road and see if there is someone out there who can possibly just inspire you or help you with what you're facing. The
Hmm.
second is I am not worth it. I can have like the best skills in the whole world, but as we said before, unless and until we have like full 100 marks on our paper on ourselves, which is our own self assessment, we really stop ourselves from moving forward.
Hmm.
And the
Agree
third
with
is
you.
I am not worth it. So for
Hmm.
example, your organization actually did some very good things in terms of resilience, in terms of having these workshops for women, but given a chance, if women had to invest this amount on themselves, saying that COVID, everybody faced a problem, everybody had like a bunch of workload being added onto our life, which
Hmm.
clearly shouted out to be resilience and shouted out to be gritty enough. But
Yeah.
would we have spent money from our pocket to get more resilient? I mean, we would have thought about it as extra work on our head. अभी कहाँ से time निकालूं for workshop and again upskilling myself on resilience and all of that. But then if someone comes to us and offers it to us, then we readily take it. So the third thing is be
Hmm.
okay to
Agree.
invest on yourself because you're worth it. You are absolutely worth it. Upskilling is not something that needs to be done only when the organization is investing on you. It is something that you need to do it for yourself when you think you need to up your game,
Yep.
either in life or in corporate. And those were the three reasons by which we started a movement on leadership. Otherwise, most of the people that you see around, whenever they talk about leadership programs, they
Hmm.
always come with a program. you
Hmm.
know Today program, 3-day program, 5-day program, and after the program, what? People are going back into their normal lives. They're going to fight the same problems again and again. And with this ecosystem that we are creating with leadership, like people like you coming onto the show, literally people get a chance to be mentored after the laser focus on upskilling is over.
Hmm.
So it's like a complete ecosystem of a community which is feeding on each other, sustaining each other, so that you don't really have to look outside. It's like a Hiranandani society in Bombay.
Hmm.
It's like completely self fulfilled with everything that you don't need to go out for anything. So that's being I think this is the first time I'm actually speaking about what we are doing. Otherwise, I've never really even spoken about why we are doing it so far.
No, but
But yeah,
it's a very powerful vision that you and Team Decode have, and like you said, the movement has started,
yeah.
and I just wish you and the team great luck to galvanize this further and further and further. It's the need of the hour, and the passion with which you and everyone Team Decode is driving it. Three cheers to that.
Thank you so much. You are only going to be driving it.
Yes, with you on this journey, for
We are
sure.
going to outsource all the work to all the people who come on this show as guest speakers. Please go and mentor them. Please go and coach them. So I think we are just doing a good job of identifying evangelists who can stand for this cause, and literally who will not shy away from giving their time later on. So I think our job ends in talent spotting. I mean, that's what we are doing right now.
That's
But
a
yeah,
very modest way of saying it, uh, but I can assure you of all the support in this journey of yours.
thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, now let's come to another question. If Sarita had to upskill herself in the next couple of months, what would Sarita think about?
So, for me, upskilling is a very, very important facet of my personality, Suhasini. 2 years ago, I did a postgraduate diploma in comparative mythology from the
Wow.
University of Mumbai, from the Sanskrit department. And I remember folks at work asking me, comparative mythology q what's with mythology? HR mein you're never going to talk about Greek mythology, Norse mythology, how the Dasha avatar in the Hindi
Yeah.
mythology has a very solid reference to the Darwinian theory of evolution. Or
Yeah.
not many would know, but Sigmund Freud has really put in a lot of research on the comparative mythology side. But for me, I've always liked reading about the scriptures, and I said, why not look at something which is non-HR? And
Hmm.
believe me, because it's Mumbai University and it's a postgraduate diploma, we also had a 100-mark thesis. And I did a thesis on our own temple. I'm a native of Goa. So there's a Mangeshi temple, the ever famous Mangeshi temple. And I did my thesis on the myths and the legends around Mangeshi temple. And it went right from speaking to the priests, to the local folks, to doing a lot of research on Google. And a lot of it had to be through locals out there, elders, and priests also have their senior junior priests, and trying to get as many texts from them as possible. I think that just opened a very different side
Hmm.
of knowledge for me. This year, I'm doing a 1 year course on counseling, but that counseling has nothing to do with coaching.
Yeah.
It's about
Yeah.
grief counseling, family counseling, anxiety and depression counseling, addiction counseling. um, will I ever get into that as a profession? Maybe not. I love the HR role that I'm doing out here. But yeah, somewhere it does have some linkage to the role that I'm doing. But I keep upgrading and upskilling myself. Next year, I plan to finally learn how to drive a car. After the rains, I've told myself. I do know. I once met with an accident, and the brain has just shut things
Hmm.
out for
Hmm.
me. and I can't get myself on the driver's seat. I've told myself it's going to be a war with my brain, and I am going to get back and I'm going to drive. So upskilling for me is not just professional upskilling.
Yeah.
It is opening up different facets of knowledge, personality, experiences. So that's upskilling for me.
I just love the way how you, I mean, in your own life, as you have demonstrated that upskilling doesn't mean just professional में क्या certifications किया and what certifications you put out on LinkedIn.
And
I mean,
certifications happen as a part of our
yeah,
job. I'm Belbin certified, Hogan certified, वो
yeah,
है ही. Appreciative inquiry हो तो वो सब MBTI predictive index certified, that's a part of our role. It's a need
yeah.
for the role that we are doing. Upskilling is beyond the professional certifications. That's my definition of upskilling.
I loved it. It's such holistic, right? I mean, you didn't limit yourself to just one part of your life. You really just expanded it to your whole life. Comparative mythology, Mangeshi temple, theses, and then coming to driving. And also, I loved your vulnerability with which you actually shared that, okay, I had an accident. I'm just human and I'm fearful of driving again. And yet, I still want to come back to that driver's seat and fight that fear out. So, or face that fear out is a better way of putting it. So, I just love that part. Okay,
Thank you.
so one scary question, fun scary question. Uh,
Okay.
what scares Sarita?
Um, by nature, um, I'm an out and out extrovert and I like being with people. So, on the serious side, being excluded scares me out.
Hmm.
Um, but on the fun side, I can never stay alone in the house also. Maybe it's an extension of that. So ghost movies, especially if I see horror movies, and I still have this kida of seeing horror movies. But if I see a horror movie, I cannot stay alone in the room also.
Yeah,
So all the lights will be on, and my family really says, "Okay, fuse iska ud gaya hai," because she's seen the
yeah,
horror movie. But ghost movies scare me out, and maybe for the next 4 or 5 days after I've seen that horror movie, um, I am I am just refusing to be alone in the room also, leave aside anywhere else.
yeah,
So at night, 11 o'clock, someone tells me, "Can you walk down the stairs?" And it's in that time period of having watched a horror movie, I'm
yeah.
not going to go down alone.
Yeah, you know what? This is a confession to make. I've still not watched a horror movie in theater because I really feel that the sound and the visuals with everything will be so over consuming that even if I shut my eyes and do like this, I can't block it out from my mind, and then I'll get dreams about it. So literally, I have not watched one in theater yet.
Arey wow. Okay. No, no. So my kida goes beyond. I have watched Conjuring in
Oh,
theaters also,
oh,
but then those 4 days are 8 days. In the period when I am like really acting paranoid, just extends.
yeah, that's true. So I don't do that sort of stuff to myself. I don't do that stuff to myself. I just refrain. But yeah, okay, that's a fear that maybe I have to someday face. Saying that whatever I see in the world outside, I need not experience them in my life. That's a fear that I'm yet to face. But yeah,
Mhm.
okay. So if you had to see a ideal world for leadership, as in
Hmm.
say probably 2060,
Hmm.
and if given a choice, if you had a magic wand as to this is how the leadership world will be, what do you see in that world out there?
So I would see the entire leadership community having lot of C-suite women
Wow.
leaders,
Hmm.
CXOs, CFOs, CHROs, COOs, the entire gamut, majority of them being a part of that community. I would also see, and the movement has anyway started, but 2060, I wish and hope and pass on my best wishes that it no longer remains confined to the Indian territory, but it moves beyond and is a global community
Wow.
across all the possible continents.
Wow. That's so beautiful, no? You know what? I want to just add. I was just thinking about it when I was asking you this question itself. I I think I want women to have that courage to keep working on themselves. Like
Hmm.
80% of what problems I see in women leadership are somewhere originating from our own minds. And I do
Hmm.
not want to discount the fact that probably there are biases in the outside world. There definitely can be. So probably
Hmm.
20% is what the biases outside are. And somewhere I want to see a world where women don't shy away from working on themselves, give their career equal priority, or maybe move ahead with career intentionality, let me put it that way, in a
Hmm.
way that's more
Very well
fulfilling
put.
in nature, and
Hmm.
not like sometimes like this and sometimes like this. I mean, that one is something that I see a world where people or women fuel each other. I
Hmm.
mean, support each other is different, fuel each other is another ball game altogether.
Hmm.
Like, how can you root for another person unconditionally, you
Hmm.
know, without being judgmental, just rooting because you want that person to succeed? And
Hmm.
given the fact that her condition is going to be very different from what you have faced in your life,
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
want that to happen. What else do I want to happen?
Wow.
I want to see this something that, all our past speakers have said, a syscode, like how you have a bro code, like
Arey wow.
a syscode, which is infectious in nature, absolutely
Lovely.
infectious in nature. uh, like literally wherever you're stuck, you just have to call someone, hey, I'm stuck, can you help me? And
Hmm.
literally they guide each other, and then, oh wow, I'm sorted. That
Lovely.
kind of stuff. And a world where we are not there to please everybody.
Hmm. Hmm.
We are just doing the right thing, what's right for us. We are doing the right thing that's needed for the world, because I really believe the world needs to be more nurturing, and that's one of the visions of decode inspired living, saying that allow everybody or inspire everybody to be their highest self and
Superb.
create a more nurturing world together. And that's one thing I truly wish for every woman out there. Because leadership is nothing but an extended arm of conscious leadership that we constantly evangelize. It's just
Hmm.
pertaining to one segment, because we really believe that this segment needs a lot more thrust, lot
Hmm.
more propelling to actually just shoot off.
Wow.
So that's something on my vision which I just created like right now.
That's lovely. Lovely and very powerful.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, in the meanwhile, there is Smita who has complimented you. I Okay, so this comment came in when you were talking about all the various certifications and the long train of certifications that you were saying of Belpin, Hogan, and all the others. So she mentioned kudos to you. And she also says she loved the way in which you have been upskilling yourself.
Thank you,
Smita is
Shweta.
the co-founder of Decode Inspired Living, and she
Oh,
has
wow.
got a train of certifications to compete with you, right? So you both can play train at some other point in time, saying who has the bigger list of certifications for upskilling. So
That's
that's something.
lovely. Thank you, Smita. And I look forward to connecting with you someday for sure.
Yeah, and she stays in Mumbai. She can pay you a visit anytime.
Oh, lovely, lovely.
Okay. So let me think about the next thing that comes to me like in the flow. Okay, again, an imaginary question. If Sarita was given a mouthpiece saying that you can share a message with the whole world of, yeah, whole world, men, women, anything, what would that message be?
I think believe in yourself.
Wow.
I think that's the root of happiness and the starting point of happiness. And if you believe in yourself, you'll always be happy. And and happiness is infectious. So if you're happy, you'll ensure that you pass it on and make the world a little more happier than it is.
And what do you think they need to do to believe more in themselves?
Um, I think the whole it all starts with you know It all starts from here. There are times when we are critical. There are times when we overthink. I think believing in yourself is about keeping a positive attitude. There are times when things may not go as per how you envision them to be. But if you don't hang your boots on whatever it is that you want to pursue, which is again a manifestation of belief in oneself, um, success comes to you in multiple avatars. So it may not come in form X, but it will come in form Y. It may not come in form Y for some people, it will come in form Z.
Yeah.
So I think that fundamental belief of just carrying on, going on, again it boils down to resilience and grit,
Hmm.
boils down to optimism. I think that's something that I would like to pass on as a message. I try, I'm not out there at a Six Sigma level with this attitude, but I ensure that there are times when I get into a questionable zone around things which may lead to negative thoughts. I try and pull myself back consciously, because at the end of the day I think it's important to stay happy, and it's important to spread happiness. So for me, belief in oneself is the root starting point of the end goal, which is happiness.
Wow. I'm still digesting it. Starting point of the end goal, which is happiness. Very nice. I'm just thinking of all the things that will be possible with this kind of a mindset. And I'm just thinking aloud that probably EQ as a skill, right? Emotional intelligence as a skill is so much more needed for women. So much. I'm not making a comparison with the different genders out here, but it's just that with the kind of responsibilities and the roles that we play, like women are born caregivers, like
Yes.
born caregivers. Like as a daughter, probably you are a caregiver. As a daughter-in-law, probably you are a caregiver. As a mother, you are caring for your kids. I mean, you are like even when you were born, you had that role like right in your destiny.
Carved
And
out.
for that, EQ as a skill, resilience and grit, of course, being two primary things, it's so much more important.
I agree. In fact, not just emotional quotient, but the world is moving towards even the whole aspect of social and spiritual quotient, right?
Yeah.
And I think while it has its small cohorts in the whole EQ domain also, I think that's also very, very important and gaining a lot of significance in today's time.
Yeah, that's probably one of the reasons why things like mindfulness are picking up,
Yes,
because eventually it can open a door towards
absolutely.
SQ, like towards opening. Because I'm very scared of using mindfulness and SQ together, spiritual quotient together, because otherwise people always think about mindfulness as some yogi baba sitting in the Himalayas and meditating. And I am tired of telling the whole world saying that it's not about that. It's just about
Yes,
seeing things with clarity, and it's useful in
yes.
your daily life as you live with your daily stress.
Yes, yes. And mindfulness can be as simple as listening to your favorite song on the way to
Absolutely.
office and
Yeah.
immersing yourself and enjoying that song. Yeah.
Yeah. Just being
So
in
I
the
agree.
moment.
Yeah, living in the moment. It need not be parvat pe jaake,
Yeah.
yogic dhyan karo. I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah. But just that we are always either, I think this was a dialogue from Kung Fu Panda. We are either thinking too much about the past, which
Hmm.
has already happened, or thinking too much about the future, which is yet to happen. And then we are rarely in the present, and it's the present which is called as a gift. I think it's that master tortoise which actually shared that line in Kung Fu Panda. I'm a fan of Kung Fu Panda. But yeah, that's true. We need it much more. Interesting. Okay. So now, one question that comes to my mind is, who is Sarita's role model?
So, I've got many professional role models, but I will share with you my life role model.
Yeah.
Um, and they are my parents. And the reason why I would say my parents is because I think for me, they are the the epitome of selflessness, sacrifice, never giving up, being resilient, being extremely positive, at times, in adverse situations, also not letting go of, the future and the insight of the future that you have. Um, for me, it's always been my parents. And while I may get a little emotional, but if I can, they're all up there for me and my brother in the benchmark space. And if we can probably reach even 50%, and every time, I push myself of wanting to be a good human being. It's just them from a benchmark point of view, and then I see the gap, and I tell myself, abhi bahut travel karna hai. And I think that's what keeps me going, in the journey of wanting to be a genuine human being. So it's my parents. It's from the time I have understood what role modeling is, and that's, it need not be the terminology, but right from a child, someone whom I've looked up to has been my parents.
Beautiful. Very beautiful.
And I'm sure it must be for you, Suhasini, and most of us. Professional role models bahut hai, because there are styles you emulate. There are, behaviors you want to emulate. Of course, there are many. One constant force has always been my parents.
Very interesting. And just to name a few of the professional role models, who will they be?
So many, right from my first job. And so one is your celebrity role models, like,
Yeah.
I'll not name them, but the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
celebrity role models whom all of us kind of want to emulate. And some of them have been my ex bosses, my ex
Hmm.
colleagues, in all the organizations that I've worked with. Someone who's common to both of us, and I'll probably name him, has been Surinder Mehta, who's the group
Hmm.
CHRO for
Yeah.
Nykaa at the
Yeah,
moment.
like,
He was our boss
yeah.
at Vodafone. So I'm just taking the liberty of sharing the name of someone whom you and I both know.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
there have been multiple folks out there.
Excellent. Okay. So I'm a bit running late on the comments here. So I'm going to go back to my comments. So
Sure.
Smita also says that she had a car accident and for 10 years she struggled with this fear. And I've
Oh,
learned again and started driving and hope that motivates you.
wow. Wow. Thanks, Smita. Um, Now I know I have someone who's gone through the cycle, and
See, ecosystem. See, see.
absolutely. Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
With a
And there
smile
is
on
a,
my face. Yeah,
yeah. It's so relieving to actually just see that I'm not alone in my own world with my fears and the problems. Right. It's so relieving.
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Nature of human brain. Okay. So Chaitanya has a question. How do you recommend people to stay course with their long-term goals?
Patience, that's extremely important. And I fundamentally believe that, yeah, you may have a long term goal chalked out, but our life is so dynamic, and and full of very different forces, of winds, sunshine, rain coming into our professional and personal lives. I think it's equally important to, at multiple stops, calibrate and recalibrate whether the long term goal continues to remain as is. Take the Formula One example. Yeah, even in the Formula One Grand Prix race, you have a pit stop where
Yeah.
they kind of polish the engine so that you're geared up for the next lap. So be patient, be focused, but also have the courage and conviction to calibrate and recalibrate your goals, and see that they are in line with your pace and current realities.
Yeah. So necessary, no? And that analogy of being in the pit stop, it was like so bang on it, like straight went into the head. That you, yeah. And rarely and sometimes we just keep running, right? Like literally, we are like on mode, switch on mode. भागते रहो, भागते रहो, भागते रहो. कहाँ भाग रहे हैं, क्यों भाग रहे हैं? Ultimately, that itself goes behind the picture, and the very fact that we have to keep doing something or the other, that comes to the forefront. But at
Yep.
least running with a sense of purpose, that will be useful.
Yeah.
Okay, so with this, we come to the fag end of the session. It's been a beautiful session, a beautiful conversation that just unraveled in its own flow.
I
And
have also enjoyed every bit of this conversation with you, Suhasini.
absolutely, and I just love the fact that you came across as so human, and that's how whom you are in real life also, that just got portrayed like exactly the same way, in the most authentic way. People got to know Sarita in the whole world, and who knows, people might just reach out to you in your LinkedIn saying that, hey, I'm facing a problem, can you help me? That's also
Most
equally
welcome.
possible.
Most welcome. I would be more than glad to add value and support and suggest.
Thank you so much for just being the person that you are. Okay,
Thank
so
you,
with
Suhasini.
this, we come to an end of yet another inspiring show of LeadHership. And I can't wait till I have the next session, invite the next guest speaker, which is going to be next week, Thursday, same time, 7 p.m. And that's going to be suspense. So, yeah, till we meet next time. Thank you, everybody who joined in.